Hello everybody. Today we are going to take a look at the CIS, which is the Confederacy of Independent Systems for the Star Wars mod, Star Wars Battlefront Commander, which is a modification for Star Wars Empire at War. Now, the CIS, if you did not know, is one of the factions during the Clone Wars. They were formed from a number of systems that wished to succeed from the Galactic Republic due to what they felt was a bunch of violations of their rights, as well as corruption within the Galactic Republic. Now, the CIS was formed mostly by Count Dooku, as composed of the Galactic Banking Union, the Trade Federation, as well as several other large guilds and corporations who wished to get out from under the trade restrictions of the Galactic Republic. They supported them with their fleets, their droid armies, and most of the member systems also offered their own forces. The CIS is often portrayed as the villains, just straight up evil with horrible intentions due to Count Dooku's leadership, Grievous. And they did. There was quite a few, sanctioned atrocities committed by Grievous and Dooku himself. But not every member of the CIS was actually, in it to be, evil. After the Clone Wars, there was officially ended at the end of Episode 3 with Order 66 and Anakin wiping everybody out on Mustafar. For a period of about 5 years afterwards, holdouts all around the galaxy were actually still fighting. So there was a few Separatist planets that refused to give up. So we're going to go in here at Naboo to take a look at the CIS's space units. Most of them should be pretty familiar to you. So to start out here, we'll look at the Loser Hulk battleship. Anybody who has seen any of the prequels, especially Episode 1, will probably recognize this ship. This is the Trade Federation's primary capital ship. In the first movie, it's used as a droid control ship, which is a special, specific ship amongst the fleet. Things are massive, and they're huge carriers, with the hangars right there wrapping basically all the way around, more or less. Heavily armored, they're very durable ships, very good, and will usually make up a bulk of your... Well, they'll be your primary carrier. They're the ones that you'll really want. Next, we have the Recusant Destroyer. Now, there's two variants in this modification. There's the Heavy Destroyer that you see here, which is one that you'll see getting shot up in the opening scene for Episode 3. And then they also have a lighter version. Now, the lighter version has a bug on it where it likes to be on fire. It lacks shields. It's meant to be used en masse, so it's very cheap. But I wouldn't rely on it. And it's got quite a few less guns. Now, going next, we're going to look here. This is the Techno-Union frigate. It's got a bit of a shark or aquatic animal-like look to it. This vessel I'm not as familiar with, but it's been in several Clone Wars mods. Its description is a medium-sized frigate given by the Techno-Union, fish-like in design, is relatively fast and can put some heavy firepower on an opponent and fall back before the enemy can respond. It's basically a fast strike type cruiser.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have the Magnificent frigate. Now, if you watch the Star Wars Clone Wars series, you'll most likely recognize these. And there's quite a few of them that you can see in the beginning of Episode 3. The lights seem to be flickering there. As you can see here, it's got a giant turbo laser cannon on the prow there, underneath the bridge. These are going to be probably the bulk of your fleets, unless you're going to be trying to build just straight up heavy craft. This thing's getting its butt kicked by looks like bombers or missiles. Now, one of the last ones that you'll see here is the Providence class. Was it cruiser or destroyer? Carrier slash destroyer. So this is what you see in the Episode 3, the Invisible Hand, Grievous's flagship. That's what this ship is here, and you can see it's bristling with guns along the side. A few there on either side of the hangar. and you'll probably have quite a few of those in your ship, your fleet as well. These are one of the few ships that are actually pretty decent against Venators. And then here we have the droid carrier. So before, when I said the Looser Hulk will be your primary Trade Federation ship, it won't. This will probably be it. This is a lot cheaper. It's a carrier class, so you'll probably want to have a good number of these in your fleet as well. The CIS is very good with their fighter swarms. Just overwhelming your enemy with droid fighters, bombers, and all that. Fighter for fighter, they're not as good as the Republic, but you'll have a lot more of them, which is how the CIS play. They overwhelm their enemies. That's how it was in the lore. That's how it is in this mod. Some of the fighters, if I can get any of them. Come back here. Nope. So this should be a Hyena class bomber. Yep, Hyena class. Come back here. You can probably recognize the Tri-Fighter. It's a space superiority fighter meant to be heavily focused toward taking out enemy strike craft. And here you can see the ship that was basically General Grievous's personal starfighter. And then flying around quickly here is the Vulture droid, which makes up the bulk of your starfighter fleet. So there we go. There we have victory in space as the CIS. So no losses for us. And we have ground forces coming in. Let's speed this up so we can get there. And we shall invade Naboo.
Invasion commencing.
Begin. Now this is a different map from the base game for the Naboo battle. Actually adds in the city of Theed. So you can see here it's got the palace, and it doesn't have the hangar. That should actually be the hangar over there, I think. So yeah, so that isn't in the mod. Some Naboo wildlife, those big like tick-looking cow things.
Has anyone seen the new G series?
So to start out, here's the B1 battle droids. These things are cheap, meant to be used en masse. You're just going to throw these at the enemy. They're not...
Well, it's my programming.
Choose your reinforcements.
They're not the best quality. Now this mod adds in the Octupara. Crap, it doesn't have the name of them. The big ship, the big three-legged walkers that you see at the middle of Christophsis, which is the Clone Wars animated movie that came out before the TV series for the Clone Wars aired on TV. They can deploy, undeploy. I'm assuming that's will form some of our artillery. They can fire while they walk, though, so it's probably a longer range artillery. The heavy missile gunships, armored assault tanks, the Persuader. I've always just called these droid caterpillar tanks, but I guess these are Persuader class tanks. Some B2s. We'll bring in these guys. I don't know the name of them. Some crab droids. Boba Fett. Oh, excuse me. I cannot believe I just said that. Jango Fett. Oh, man. Grievous. Some Staps. Then we'll bring in a homing droids. Ah, destroyers. There we go. And some Plex missile infantry.
Jedi better watch out.
Alright. So these are the AATs. These are the primary tank of the CIS. You'll recognize these as well from episode 1, which were used to great effect against the Gungans until the droid control ship was destroyed. Attack some clones there. Take a look at the Octupera droids. As you can see, they're huge. I was playing a match the other day, and these things was on Tatooine, and zoomed in on one of them like this, and I had the camera like that, and you could just see a group of them in the background just migrating across the screen. It was awesome.
I want to be upgraded to a G series.
So here's the missile droid. See, it's got missile racks just out the wazoo there. Plenty of turrets as well.
Forgot my orders.
So that's your air unit.
Have you seen the new droid?
Missile B1s. They got the blue painting on them. And behind them is the B2 super battle droids. Now,
Roger, Roger.
in
Jedi
the
better watch
Clone
out.
Wars, they showed,
I want a bigger blaster.
like, if you read the books, they were talked about that the B2s were basically a match or more than a match for a average clone trooper. And if you ever played Republic Commando, you would know what I'm talking about.
Roger, Roger.
These things were super hard to take down. You basically had to blow the center portion there where the visual optics are. You blew that off, and it exposed their core, which would let you do extra damage to them. And that's basically how you had to do it, unless you just wanted to unload your entire supply of ammunition into them. Spider Walkers. You recognize these from episode 2. Oh, shooting some clones over there. At the very end, when they're doing the invasion of Geonosis, you'll see a few of these running around shooting. There's General Grievous with his wonderful voiceovers. He has Rage Attack and Sprint.
Yes, sir. What?
Here's Jango Fett in all his glory. Beautiful looking. Beautiful. Look at that. So his guns are holstered as well as in his hands. So he's packing heat. So you gotta love Mandalorian armor.
I'll get there.
They look cool.
The Jedi will be overwhelmed.
Here's Count Dooku, portrayed by the amazing Christopher Lee, who sadly passed away earlier this year.
It's time for us to strike prophetic activation.
Persuader class droid tank here. Wonderful detail on the tracks there, the treads. Looks awesome. This really is one of the best looking mods for Empire at War. I'm not sure what these are called, but these are artillery right here. You'll deploy them and they'll be able to shoot farther. And then here's your crab droids. You might recognize these from episode 3 when they're battling on Utapau, and a clone trooper basically sprints on top of one of these things, just unloads into the top of it to kill it. Not too very fast. What they would do is they would go and they basically use those huge front legs as like a shield in front of them to protect them from incoming fire.
I could use a nice oil bath.
And here are your destroyer droids, which everybody remembers from episode 1 when Obi-Wan yells, "Master Destroyers," and then they have to run away. If you don't know, if you move them just a little ways, the shields won't drop. But if you move them farther, they'll actually drop their shields and roll to their new destination before popping up and then deploying again. If you're trying to kill them, that's when you want to hit them. You'll be able to take them out very quickly. If you're using them, you got to make sure that you don't just shoot them up there or in front of the enemy because they'll be taken out. So instead, have them roll up and then just slowly just click slightly from them and just make them move up. That way they constantly have their shields up and will be protected from harm. Let's get another company of B1s.
I wish
Oh, and we didn't look at the STAPs, which are the droid speeders that Qui-Gon takes out as he saves the much beloved Jar Jar Binks, everyone's favorite character, and the true hero of Star Wars.
I miss out on all the good battles.
And if anyone's wondering, that was me being facetious.
What were my orders?
Not the
That again?
craziest fan of Jar Jar.
All right.
Now for their bombing strike, should be a couple of... Oh, nope, they used Grievous's ships for the bombers. You can watch them come in. Flying over here.
Target's locked.
Drop in a line. So there's their bombing effect. And here is their orbital bombardment. It's a bunch of turbo lasers coming in. So that is the CIS's ground forces.
I forgot my orders.
There might be a few units I missed here and there, but those are the primary forces. Might be some forces unique to certain planets. The Maleficent can't... Or, no, the Maleficent... Words are difficult.
My servos need
Malevolence, excuse me, is buildable. I've seen the CIS build it. I'm not certain where they can. It might be bugged because I started at tech level 5. I wasn't able to build it. Because none of my planets would let me build any structures or higher level space stations. Go and deploy them. See here in the deployed mode. Not him. This guy. There you go. So when he's deployed, his two front legs will come in together. His back one's spread out a little bit more to help take the recoil of his giant gun shooting. Pursuer class firing.
being watched.
Yes, sir.
So if droids are your forte, then this is the faction for you.
Yes, sir.
Alright, I would like to thank everyone for joining me today, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Everyone take care.